Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. What I have here is a Black Widow Heroclix, a piece of a brush, like a hairbrush, and a little cut off piece of a comb. I'm going to make a sword out of that, and a base ready to go on my paint lid. What I want to do is I want to convert her into a sick miniature rogue type character, or maybe a spellblade or something, but she has a gun there. So we want that off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to snip her off the base so that I can use her on my other base. And all I'm doing is cutting the bottom of her feet. So that I can attach her to that other base. Okay, I want that gun off there. And see how there's a hole there? It was just shoved in and glued. Okay, now I want to fill that a little bit. And that'll do it. Let me get that off my finger. It's kind of hot. Now, we're going to mount that sword right where that gun was. So I'm going to take that first piece here, which is the piece of comb that I'm using for a sword blade. And then I want to make sure my handle's not ridiculously long. And that adds a nice pommel right there, if you see. So, I think I'm going to try Eileen's Tacky to hold these together while I figure out how I want to do it. I'm getting a little dab of Eileen's Tacky on my cardboard here. And let's see if that does what I need it to. Okay. Not quite. Alright, we'll set those down. I'll get a little dab of super glue on there. And let's see if Eileen's Tacky and super glue together can make my dreams come true. Oops. So I got some tacky on there. I just wiped that off of my finger accidentally and incidentally. Okay. Once you're pretty happy with how that looks, I'll get a toothpick or something. Kind of paint that up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now a little bit of baking soda to make it a permanent solution. And it stuck to my finger and ripped apart. Of course it did. Okay. Now I want to make sure that that's going to stay. I'm going to come back over with my glue and just kind of hit it all again. Make sure I have a good sturdy handle. Okay. Set that off to the side for a second while we figure out how we're going to mount it on our side. I think the easiest thing to do having some technical difficulties. I want to get as much connection as I can there. Just like that. And I'm going to use look what I've done. All right. A little bit of super glue. I'm going to spread that around. Okay. Once I have that sword kind of where I want it, okay. Things are looking pretty sturdy at that point. Okay, let's sort her out of base, and that's going to be super easy to do. She should fit right on this base. And I'm just going to use some super glue to spread that around and capture a jagged kind of edge, just like that. Okay. Toothbrush. I think I over super glued, and I got a little bit on her foot, so we'll have to hide that with the paint job. All right. Not shabby. We have some cool texture on the base. Let's paint her up. Everything's sturdy. Yeah, everything seems sturdy. Let me see if I can cut that little bit off of her foot. All right, black bomb. Oh, my black's like empty. Maybe a black bomb. We'll see. Oh well. It's coming out a little gooey and nasty. We don't want that. I'll stop while I'm ahead. Need to get more black paint. Come on, Doom. You've been doing this for a couple minutes. Quick and easy female robe coming right up. I need an off-white color, or a white color preferably. Let's see what I got. Oh look, I have white. Got a little bit of this. This cardboard's probably not good for what I'm doing here. Probably didn't need that much either. I'm gonna get a soft makeup brush. A little bit too much paint on there yet. We'll make it work. I'm just flipping it so I can get underneath there a little easier is all I'm doing. Okay. Now there's a little bit of her hair color in some places where I didn't get it black bombed real well sticking through. But I'm not going to worry about that too much. Let's start painting her up. So first thing I'm going to use a flesh tone. I'm going to use this Barbaric Flesh. And I'm making a big old mess. That's okay. I'm going to get a little bit of that white. I'm just going to highlight that real quick. I'm going to get some hot air on her face. And I'm going to do it again. Okay. Now I got some arm showing here. I'm going to hot air gun that. And highlight it with this lighter color. Just trying to pick up any little bit of detail I can and not doing a whole lot of work here. The goal is not to overextend ourselves or make this project take too long or it won't be as fun. We're going to come back and do the hair and stuff later. Let's get some darker colors. Let's use some water to thin those down. So first I'm going to get some water. Could use my wet palette, I suppose, but we're not. We're using whatever the shit I got here. So the first trick of the evening is called Dark Stone. I'm going to use some miniature paints on this. And my brush is damp. I'm going to do her pants in that. And I don't want it to be super thick. I want it thinned out, because I want any kind of natural highlight I have from my undercoat and the way I dry brush the white onto the black. I want to use that to my advantage to keep this model looking minty. Okay. I don't care if I get a little bit on the boots or the other parts because I'm going to come back and hit those again anyways. So I have that nice brown color there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a kind of a brown. I'm going to use this oak brown, I guess. I'm just going to get a tiny dab of that. I'm going to get my brush wet again. My brush is fairly damp. And I'm going to do her outfit here. Her little poncho thing. And I'm going to do her undercloak with that too. Underclothes with it. Her tunic with that too. Okay. And again, I don't want it too thick because I want to use some of that natural shading provided by the undercoat we did, by that base coat, you know. And I'm going to do her little sleeves in that dark brown as well. Okay. Something like that. And I got to get up under that hair a little bit where I missed. No problem. All right, so I want that to be thicker now. And I want to do what's going to be her sheath. And I don't want that as thin. So I want to make sure I have enough paint to darken that up. So that her sheath looks brown. Okay, something like that. Now I want to darken her boots up, or change the color of her boots, either way. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of black here into my brown. Get a tiny bit of water in my brush and wet that up. I'm going to do her boots. If I get a little bit of that on the base, it's okay because I'm going to come back and paint the base, but I don't want to get it on the pants because I've already done those. Tell you what, I paid, these are about 25 cents a piece for these Heroclix. If I can, I bought $25 for 100 of them. So if I can actually get 25 of these converted, I'll feel pretty pleased with my purchase. All right, so I'm going to use that same dark color. And I'm going to do this, like, whatever this part is here, these ruffles. I'm going to darken those up. Something like that. All right, now she's looking pretty good. She's looking minty. I'm gonna clean my brush out, wipe it off. I'm gonna get that white I had earlier. Okay, and then I'm gonna clean up anywhere where I got flesh tone on her hair that I don't want. I'm just gonna be real careful, just like that. Nothing too schmance. Then I'm going to lighten her hair up in general a little bit. Something like that. And what color hair is she going to have? Well, I think we're going to give her blonde hair. So to do blonde hair, the first thing we need is a light brown. I'm going to use this color called Monster Brown here. Something lighter, that'd be better. I don't know. Maybe Monster Brown is the way to go. Okay. And I want her to be an adventure blonde, not bimbo blonde. Being super damn careful. I have a feeling we're not going to be able to do any kind of meaningful eyes with the way my hands feel. I'm sorry. Okay. Once you're pretty happy with your light brown, air gun it. Oh, I missed an entire spot on top of her head. Okay. Might as well do the hilt of that sword too while we're at it. Alright, so like I said, we want to use a yellow. I'm going to use this desert yellow to start me out. And I'm going to swap out brushes for a minute. I'm going to use a brush that's kind of dinky and tiny. I'm going to drag it against the grain on her hair. Start to make it yellow. Then once I get that fairly lightened up, I'm going to get a lighter yellow, something a little brighter. I'm going to steal a tiny bit of that and mix it in. And then I don't want to do as much. Something like that. Now she's got blonde hair. Now let's do something about the belt. Do we have any of that black left, I wonder? We have some left, but I mean, is it wet or dry? So it looks like it's starting to dry up a little bit. Let's do what was her gun belt and is now her sword belt. Okay, something like that. Then she's got that little buckle there and that little belt there. I'm going to take some of that brown, that monster brown, and I'm going to try to trace that belt around lightly. Can't get in there. I'm going to get that darker brown. Try to hit that upper area over the tunic where I got the paint accidentally. clean that up and mix that in a little bit, blend that in a little bit. I'm getting a metallic. That's the darkest gray I have in this line of paint. I'm going to do that little medallion thing on her belt buckle. Okay. And I'm going to do the pommel of her sword. Then I'm going to do the tip of the sheath. Try to make it look like a sword stop. Okay. Then we're just going to do a little bit of trim here at the top of the sheath. And let's see if there's any kind of buckles that we can just hit real easily. There's a little buckle. Okay. Pretty basic, pretty easy to do. She's definitely got that kind of rogue or spell thief or something along those lines look going for sure. I think. I'm going to put those brushes away. I'm going to get that first brush that I had out again. And I'm going to get just some Walmart paint. Just like that. Trying really hard not to get it on her feet if I can help it. I'm going to do all my 3D raised surfaces in this darker brown. Something like that. I'm going to cool that off with or dry that up with the hot air again. Just like that. Dry enough for government work. I'm going to get a small brush like this and a little bit of that brown. Then I'm going to kind of put some variation on there. Steal a little of that monster brown and do that too. Let's dry it off. All right, using black. And a damp brush. Let's come around here and follow the outline of the 3D base, the 3D raised like dirt portion of the base. Some more wet, something like that. I got your box ready, T. I got it taped up. I just gotta go online on Discord and get your address and head down to the post office at some point this week. I hope you're not disappointed. I think there's a good mix of stuff in there you can use. John had said something about doing a mini exchange or a parts exchange or something at one time. And I, at the time, was like, eh. But if anybody on Discord wants to do a parts exchange or a mini exchange or kind of make rules for anything like that, let me know. We can try to get something like that going. All right, so remember I got those little tufts from the Temu? We're going to use those. And we're going to use some basing. Some flock. So we need some clear glue, a toothpick, let's find some spots where grass would grow nicely. Let's get some of that flock. Make her base look spectacular. Not bad. You know, I got those little teeny these thingies. And I don't know if we have room for really two of those on there, do we? Maybe if I cut one in half, but I'm just not feeling that motivated. Anyways, we used it. I bought it, we used it. Not bad. Working on a new flock right now. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. I'm just making some leaves for trees. That's all that is. So that'll be exciting to do some trees. I also have this I'm working on, which is going to be a mix for making cool decorative hedges. And all I'm doing is cutting up different types of Spanish moss and stuff from the Dollar Tree and other places. And then mixing it with some tree bark that's ground up and some little cut up pieces of wood. That's all I'm doing. Just making some stuff just to make my life easier, because I have a lot of ambition but not a lot of time. So if I make a bunch of stuff when I have downtime like that I can use someday, then maybe I'll actually use it instead of every time I want to do a project, not sure. So anyways, there she is. I didn't do her eyes. I just can't today. I probably won't do them ever. I'll just leave it like that. But thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave comments, and do all the stuff that helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.